Day 2 is in the books of the NFL draft, so we're going to take a look and give some draft grades to all 32 teams now that they've all have chosen. We're not going to look at day 1. This is solely day 2, and if you want to join me, we're doing a watch along for all of day 3. That's going to be wild. But what's crack-a-lacking? It's your boy Barosh Mode, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. All right. We're going to start Arizona Cardinals. We're going alphabetical order, and they actually all their picks came here on day 2, though the Myjah Sanders pick was actually involved in the Marquise Brown trade, as they traded away their first round pick. They picked up Marquise Brown, and then pick 100, which they used on Myjah Sanders. Very good player, about the right value, I think, for Myjah Sanders, kind of being a project edge, though I still kind of don't like the trade. I feel like it's a bit rich giving away your first round pick. Trey McBride was a bit of a curious one, as they brought back Zach Ertz, so but I like the Cameron Thomas pick. That was a very good pick. Overall, I'm gonna give this just a B, because they got good players, and some of this stems from I didn't like that trade in the first round, which I said this is solely day 2, but I mean a bit of this bleeds into it. But I'm gonna give it a B overall for the Arizona draft class thus far. Onto the Atlanta Falcons. They were busy boys today as they snagged Arnold Ebike, moved up to get him. I love that move. They grabbed Troy Anderson, which I thought that was pretty solid. That was good value. Best value, though, came for Desmond Ridder. They didn't even have to move up. He just fell to them. Extraordinary. Then D'Angelo Malone's a nice piece. That's a pretty average move there. He's more of a DPR, designated pass rush only, but straight up grabbing Desmond Ridder so late at such value. I mean, overall, this is an A. I love Ebiketie, and Anderson could develop into a very good linebacker when it's all said and done. Baltimore Ravens. Who is it? Who played Gwen Stacy? Emma Stone. She was in Easy A. Was it Easy A? It was Easy A. Easy's a rapper. Anyway, this is an Easy A. Long. Oh man, that was quite the journey just to get to say this was an A. Like David Ojabo falling to them, that was nice. That was good. Gave that an A. He would have normally been a first rounder. Anyone who landed him in the second round honestly would have got an A. Happened to be the Ravens. He gets to play along his former high school teammate, made Odafe Owe, and his former defensive coordinator this past season. But the Travis Jones pick was such extraordinary value. A+++++. All right, the Buffalo Bills. I actually didn't quite like what they did on day 2. They moved up. No, they moved back. They acquired an extra pick and then took James Cook. It just wasn't good value. I had him as like a late third rounder, running back, less valuable position. He's going to serve a great role there on the defense, but overall, it was it was average at best. Again, I kind of go by A is like phenomenal, B above average, C average, D below average, and I might throw F here. There's a case to be made for some teams, but then Terrell Bernard. He was a day 3 guy, in my opinion. He's a great football player, a bit undersized, but a good football player. So, man, yeah, at the end of the day, I think I'm just gonna give him a C. This was a good day 2, not extraordinary. Honestly, this is borderline D as well. It's kind of underwhelming, but yeah, it is what it is. Carolina Panthers, they move up to get Matt Corral. Easy A for me. They ended up trading 134, and then they gave away their third rounder next year for honestly a guy a lot of people thought would at least go maybe somewhere in the second round, maybe even the first. So they potentially got a quarterback of the future, maybe potentially right there at pick. What was that, 94? Yeah, no, that's extraordinary. Good job, Panthers. You've done a good job in this draft. Carolina fans, I would feel good. The Chicago Bears, they grabbed all their picks were here on day 2, and they grabbed 2 very good players, and Kyler Gordon, who's got very good upside, and then Jaquan Brisker, who's just a hell of a football player. Wasn't quite, I would say, on that same level of Daxton Hill, Lewis Seen, but he was that next tier, very good player. He's going to pair up well with Eddie Jackson there. And then Kyler Gordon's got some upside. I didn't like the Velus Jones pick. The cat's like 25. He's got return skills, and he's really just fast. That's about it. I thought they really reached at the beginning of the 3rd round on that one. I think that was actually my lowest grade pick of round 3. If not, it was probably tied for it. Overall, I gave him a B, though. I think the 3rd round doesn't take away from Jaquan Brisker or Kyler Gordon. Those are very good picks. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, they actually moved, I believe they moved up 3 spots to grab Cam Taylor-Britt, which quite frankly might put an end to maybe Daxton Hill was playing outside corner, but maybe he's not, because Cam Taylor-Britt got a versatile body type as well. However, Zachary Carter, as much as I love Zachary Carter, I've been pumping up Zachary Carter for the last like 2.5 years. It was a bit of a reach. He was more of I would say a day 3 player, and I think maybe this came because DeMarvin Leal just came off the board a few picks earlier, so they were still looking for kind of that 3 to 5 tech. So overall, at the end of the day, I think I'm gonna give them, this is like a C plus, maybe a B minus, maybe a soft B. I think I'm gonna stick with C. Particularly average day 2. And then the Cleveland Browns, all their picks coming in the 3rd round. They actually traded out. So they traded down. They acquired pick 108 and pick 124, which will be used tomorrow. But they grabbed Martin Emerson here. Just more cornerback depth. I like Martin Emerson. But the Alex Wright and the David Bell. I love Alex Wright. One of my favorite prospects in this class. Probably should have gone in this range if he had the combine, the pro day, if not for injury. So I'm not too worried about the value there. But David Bell, I get they got now you're getting all these different type of receivers there in Cleveland, but I just didn't love it. I didn't think it was extraordinary. I think this is a this is good. It's just not above average. I gave it a C. And the Dallas Cowboys, y'all Cowboys fans, man, y'all didn't necessarily like the Tyler Smith pick. I liked it. I thought it was fairly good. But y'all had one hell of a day 2. Sam Williams, good value there, but the best value came in Jalen Tolbert. Being there available in the 3rd round was just extraordinary value. This is an A for me. Good job, Cowboys. I think they did a very nice. On to the Denver Broncos. Nick Bonito, man. They're at the end of the 2nd round. Actually, the very last pick of the 2nd round. That's an A. And then they actually trade back 5 spots and stack Dulcich. The thing is, with him and Albert O, they don't really have a very good blocking tight end in tow. They got 2 very good receiving tight ends, but the blocking be questionable. To be fair, both are pretty willing blockers. Overall, I still like the Nick Bonito pick, so I gave it a B. I think they did a very good job. The Detroit Lions. So, Detroit Lions, they moved up to get Jameson Williams, and they also grabbed pick 46. They used it on Josh Pascal, who's a very good football player, but it felt a bit rich. They're a 46. But Kirby Joseph, I thought a very good value. He really only had significant playing time this year, but he offers special teams help. He's got legit ball skills. Overall, I gave it a B for Pascal and Joseph to kind of average each other out. Pretty good. Green Bay Packers. Oh, this one's going to be interesting to talk about because I know there's a bunch of Christian Watson fans. But listen, I hate the trade for Watson. So they essentially gave up their both second rounders to move up to 34, and they took Christian Watson while there was guys like Pickens. To be fair, like people are gonna have the receivers sorted all sorts of ways. I had Sky Moore, I had George Pickens higher than Watson, but he was relatively close. I don't so much hate the player. I hate the trade. I thought the trade was pretty bad. But picking up Sean Ryan was such a win. Like, it almost makes up for it. I'm going to give them a B. They got two very good players here, even though I did hate the trade in the second round. So let's keep this sucker moving. The Houston Texans they've had an interesting draft, I'll say that. So let's talk about trades for receivers I hated. Let's first talk about, because Jalen Pitre, that's a win. That's a dub. That's a good pickup. Rumor was they were going to try to take running back. That's why the Jets moved ahead of them, and we'll get to the Jets in due time. But let's talk about this Mechie pick, because they traded 68, 108, and 124. And then they grabbed Mechie, who might just be a slot receiver only, so I'm not entirely in love with it. I'm just not a big fan of the trade. But Christian Harris was a big move. Like, this is the second time they actually trade ahead of the Ravens on day 2 to grab an Alabama player. And Christian Harris, he's not a complete prospect, no, but like, he is physically very gifted. Very gifted. How he will fare in Lovie Smith's defense? That's going to be the question mark, but he is very athletically gifted. Man, like, it's so weird. I think I'm going to give this a B. Like, the Mechie was a fine pick. Like, Christian Harris, I kind of questioned the scheme fit, but the player was very good value there. Didn't like the trade, obviously, for Mechie, but Jalen Pitcher's a good player too, so hey, I ain't going to hate too much. They're out there grabbing good players. And then, wow, Colts, man, they had one, like, all their picks came here on day 2, and they were just drafting players I like. So they moved down from 42. This is where the Vikings moved up to get Booth, which we'll get to later. But they snag 53, which they use on Alec Pierce, and then 77, which they proceed to use on Jelani Woods. It's very solid. But their biggest, like, pluses for me in terms of value was Bernhard Raimann there at, here, let me pull it up. Right here at the beginning of the 3rd round. And then Nick Cross, who, if you're not new to the channel, you know this cat is my guy. I love it. I'm giving this an A. Oh boy, man. They grabbed a vertical receiver. Great. Got some speed. Jelani Woods is a good tight end, man. He's a bit of a project in some aspects, but man, the athletic profile, the physical build is very intriguing. Bernhard Raimann, I'm not gonna lie, I think you can start day 1. Put him there at left tackle, see how it goes. And Nick Cross, man, gives you a very rangy safety that loves to hit, man. I really like what they did. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is what I hate. I really like Luke Fortner, and I really like Chad Muma. They're really good players. Muma was good value, but they got Devin Lloyd earlier after they gave a big contract to Foye Oluokun. So it's like, I'm a bit confused. Luke Fortner, though, like, I thought it was a bit early for them to snag him. But I'm going to give it a B. They're really good players. Not entirely confident of what they were doing with Muma. I guess we're going to have to wait and see, because they got along with Foye Oluokun, Devin Lloyd, it was just like, what? You know? The Kansas City Chiefs, I think, are having the best draft of any team. They really are. First off, they trade back to get Sky Moore. Legit. They moved back 4 spots, grabbed Sky Moore. Great. Brian Cook, it was a bit earlier than I'd be willing to take him, but that's fine. But Leo Chenal, man, all night during the stream, I was waiting for Leo Chenal to come off the board, and the Chiefs just did it. This is an A for me. This is great value. I love it. And like Brian Cook, like I said, he's a good player. just a little bit earlier than I'd probably be willing to take him. He's a hard hitter. Like, I would have loved Nick Cross there, but is what it is. Chiefs, they're having one hell of a draft. Chargers, they had one pick in the third round. They used it on JT Woods. I thought that was a bit rich for JT Woods. He's got good size, legit ball skills, like always around the football, but he's more of a day 3 guy. So and this being their only pick, like it doesn't feel fair just judging it like that, but it's what we gotta do. I gave it a D, which yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with that. It was just too early for JT Woods, and I really like JT Woods. And then, hey man, LA teams, they must be matching one another. Another cat I really like, Logan Bruss. Like, I think he could be a legitimate starter on the interior, but I didn't expect him to go at the end of the third round. I thought he was more a mid-day 3 pick. I gave this a D, and that sucks. I love the player. I really do. After they just mocked the Patriots for taking Cole Strange in the first, they come out and grab Logan Bruss, who I like, and now I'm out here having to give the D. Say what? Sorry, I'm tired. The jokes aren't as good. Oh man, the Raiders. This feels like a step in the right direction. So they actually trade down 4 spots. They pick up an extra pick at 169. Nice. But they use 90 on Dylan Parham, who could play center or guard. Fantastic player with great movement skills. Really came to the Senior Bowl, put on weight, and still looked as elegant and as fast and as swift as he did at Memphis. By the way, they said he was from Mississippi. Riddle me how you look at Memphis and read Mississippi. But yeah, no, I gave that an A. That's a good pick. That's a really good pick. On to my Miami Dolphins. They had one pick, Channing Tindall. I gave it an A. That's really good value for Tindall, who was starting to fall. We saw the linebackers starting to fall. And yeah, the Dolphins scooped him up. I'm going to give them an A for the pick. For having one pick, they did good. Minnesota Vikings. Boy, let's talk about the Vikings, because this has been a journey. First, they had the big trade down where they allowed the Lions to get Jameson Williams. And then with that trade, they gave up 46, but they picked up 34 and 66. Obviously, they used 32 on Lewis Cine. And then they moved back again. And yeah, they moved back. And this is actually a really good trade where they picked up 2 extra second rounders. So I like that. I was like, okay, there we go. That's good. That was actually with the Packers. And then they move, after moving back, they move back up to 42, given 53, 77, and 192 to pick up Andrew Booth, who was fallen because there are some concerns about the back that got flagged during his medical. So great, that's an A. And then they take Ed Ingram, which I thought that was a bit early. But, I mean, it was one of the picks they snagged in that banger trade with the Packers. So I was like, okay, I'm not too hurt about it. And then they use 46 on... No, they don't use 46. They actually pick up Brian Asamoah in the third round, which, again, like, this was from actually the Jameson Williams trade. This was 66. So, again, a lot of movement. The Vikings, that feel like they've been wheeling and dealing. Overall, I really like the moves they made. They got really good value in Booth and Asamoah. Ed Ingram, feel how you feel. I had him as a 4th rounder. They took him at the back end of the second. It's whatever. I'm gonna give him an A. I like the players that they got, and honestly, I feel like they really fleeced the Packers to get 2 second rounders. Oh, I thought it was a really good move. Oh man, let's talk the Patriots. So Tyquan Thornton was a guy that was probably going to be moving up a lot of people's boards, especially after we saw like Anthony Schwartz go in the late 3rd last year, who was really just a track star player receiver. Thornton was a bit more put together. He was fast, but he was also a guy that's displayed ball skills and showed that he could play the receiver position. So he was moving up boards. To take him mid-second round still felt real early, and they actually moved up to make this pick. So I didn't really like that. The Marcus Jones pick I did like. Overall, I think I'm going to still like, because Marcus Jones is going to be a sub-package guy. At least they get a return man out of it too. I think I'm going to give them a C, because Marcus Jones is really good. Thornton did surprise me. He went day 2. Did surprise me. He went in the second round though. And then they moved up for him. So yeah, I'm going to stick with a C. The New Orleans Saints only had 1 pick here, and it's a guy I love, Alontae Taylor. He was kind of like my guy. I talked about him in the cornerback video, but I had him as a 4th rounder, and he goes in the 2nd round. The value just wasn't good, and I hate it. I gave it a D for a player I really like. I hope he just proves me wrong. I really do. Like, just in terms of value, I didn't think it was that good of a pick. But I really love the player. On to the New York Giants, and I will say this. At least y'all had a banger day 1. Because I really hated your day 2. Let's be frank about it. So they trade down, allow the Falcons to get Ebiketie. And then they grab Wan'Dale Robinson. Some of y'all are probably a bit high, probably higher than I was on Wan'Dale Robinson. I just see him as a gadget player. On a team that feels like they're full of guys that are in that slot role, where you got Sterling Shepard, Kadarius Toney. I know that he's allegedly on the move, but okay, they still have him. So it's like, I didn't really like that. It felt rich at 43. And then Joshua Ezeudu. Anyway, this was the cat that was helping block for Sam Howell. And I had him as a maybe mid-day 3 guy. Went way too early. And I hated the pick. I just hated the pick. And then riddle me this. They go back to the slot with Cordell Flout, who probably came out earlier than he should have. And honestly, he probably would have been a day 2 pick anyway. He kind of has to fill out his frame. But they have so many slot players there. We could talk about, I know a lot of people are like, no, Aaron Robinson is a outside corner. Sub 30-inch arm length. Like, a lot of people viewed him as a guy that could maybe play on the outside. Excuse me. Darnay Holmes. He fast. I think he's got the sub 30-inch arms too. Like, I just don't get them adding more slot guys. I gave it a D. I feel like they did not execute day 2 well. But hey, they had one baiter of day 1. Let's talk about their day 1. You can go watch that video if you want me to. All right, the New York Jets. The football Jets. So they actually move up 2 picks, and this was with the Giants. Because the Giants were a team that really moved their picks. Because they moved back from 36 to 38, then they gave 38 to the Falcons. But Breece Hall, they move up 2 spots to take him. That's fine. I gave it a B. If you ain't new to the channel, you know I'm not in love with running back value. So, is what it is. I get it. Doesn't surprise me. I thought it was a good move. It was an above average move. And then Jeremy Ruckert was a part of essentially the Jermaine Johnson trade, where they gave away 35. They gave away 69. Nice. They gave away 163. And what they got was Jermaine Johnson at 26, and then they take Jeremy Ruckert at 110, who's going to come in there and be a very good blocker. He's got somewhat of a receiving upside, just wasn't used heavily there at Ohio State. I thought that was a pretty based pick. Overall, I gave it a C. Running back, one of the most least valuable positions on a roster, but I get it. You get the best in the class. He's going to pair up very nice with Michael Carter, and then Jeremy Ruckert. I get it. Good blocking tight end. The value wasn't terrible. He's got some good upside, good size. Still, I had higher guys on the board. I thought they may go with Chig Okonkwo out of Maryland, who's kind of in this Kyle Juszczyk type of role, except for maybe even a better receiver. But no, overall, like, it's fine. It was an average. It was an average day 2 for the Jets. Philadelphia Eagles, man. So listen to me. Cameron Jurgens went off the board higher than I had him on my big board. I gave that a C. Thought it was a very average move. It is what it is. But freaking Nakobe Dean is such a steal that it almost makes up for it. Because Cam Jurgens, the Beef Jurgens, is a hell of a player. So I'm gonna give this an A. Like, Nakobe Dean is ridiculous value. Cam Jurgens is a hell of a football player. So yeah, I like it. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, because we know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. Not wild, but great value in Pickens. He just fell to them at what? It was like pick 52 or something. Great. Love it. That's an A. DeMarvin Leal, a guy who was once touted as a first rounder. Had a bit of his second half of the season was kind of a letdown. He's a tweener. He had the drug arrest for like 2 ounces of marijuana. It's like, come on, dude, what are we in high school? So yeah, there were concerns, didn't test out how you would want a tweener to test out. Still a very good football player, and he's going to a very, very good coaching staff. I like it. They got an A. Easy. Seattle Seahawks, they had a pretty interesting second round overall. Because Boya Mafe, that made sense. I was like, that's a good pick. That makes sense. And then Kenneth Walker made a whole lot of less sense. Because it's like, I guess they're like, you know what? Penny, Carson, y'all are too hurt. We're going to take the second best running back in this class. He was actually the first running back on my board. But it was essentially Kenneth Walker 1A, Breece Hall 1B. So good move, but like, it's not a bad move. Like, it's for value's sake, it's fine, but okay. And then the third round comes around. They get their right tackle. They got Charles Cross, left tackle of the future. Abraham Lucas, right tackle. That's a banger pick. I don't know how to feel about Kenneth Walker, but these are really good football players. All of them almost cracked my top 50. It's an A, dang it. It's an A. All right, let's talk about the 49ers. Outside of Drake Jackson, I thought this was pretty poor. Drake Jackson was great value. I gave that an A. Terrion Davis-Price, I really like the player. I think he's like my running back 16 or 17. But like, at this value was extraordinarily bad. Danny Gray, I like Danny Gray. He came in measuring smaller than I thought he would, or at least how he was listed. But he looks bigger. Honestly, he looks bigger than what he measured up at. But the ball skills suck, so that's why I kind of was like, okay, he's probably a day 3 guy. But they pick him here at the end of the third round. Like, overall, like, I don't know if Drake Jackson saves this. I think I'm gonna give it. Do I give it a C? Does Drake Jackson really bring him back that much? That's the question. I'm going to give it a D. Drake Jackson pick was great. The other two, though, I'm not wild about. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, they trade down, and part of this trade down, they trade down from 27 to 33. They grab Logan Hall, who, yeah, you probably could have got him a little later, but again, people in the NFL were pretty high on him, so that's kind of fine. I thought the trade was great. Well, they got 106, and 180, so they're going to make those picks tomorrow. So that was solid. Luke Goedeke, that's a good pick, good value. He could come in, he could compete for that left guard spot, perhaps. And then, I'm not crazy about Rachaad White. Like, he's so great out in space. but it just, the value didn't seem great, but I could see him getting picked at 106 anyway. So maybe at the beginning of the 4th round, they were going to do that anyway. So it's like, how much does that really matter? Overall, I'm going to give it a B. I thought this was a very good draft class for the Buccaneers. Tennessee Titans. I'll say this. I thought they had a much better day 2 than they did day 1, where they traded AJ Brown for essentially Treylon Burks. That kind of sucks. Sounds like they just weren't willing to pay him. They were trying to lowball him, and it didn't work out. So they ended up actually using what they got back in a trade down from 26. So 35 and then 69 were used on Roger McCreary and Nicholas Petit-Frere. Roger McCreary, I imagine he can play in the slot. Like, you think with that length, he's probably doomed to the slot, but this is a guy that played on the outside his whole career. I think he's capable of that. I don't mind them going out and grabbing cornerback depth, especially with Caleb Farley and all his injury concerns. I thought that was a good pick. Nicholas Petit-Frere, I think immediately he could challenge that left guard spot and maybe be your left tackle to the future. Like, he's got a very good build for an offensive lineman, good length. He moves quick for his size. He's just not there yet. But the move up for Malik Willis, I thought was a home run, because they only gave away 90 and 169 to move up to 86. That's a home run. And honestly, I think that kind of saves it. I'm going to give it an A. They hit legit the positions. They hit corner, tackle, quarterback. They're big. Malik Willis, once talked about to be a first rounder. I say once because we were just talking about it yesterday. Falls to them here in the 3rd round. They make a move on him. I like it. Titans, you did good. You did good. And then finally, the Washington football team. I don't know if you Washington fans like what y'all did. I mean, essentially, Phidarian Mathis, he's a fine football player. He's a solid football player. I don't think the upside's huge, but he's a good guy to have in the rotation. He's going to be a solid starter for the NFL for years to come. Will he be anything special? Probably not, but he is going to be in the NFL a long time and be a very good player. So, not so butthurt about that. Brian Robinson Jr. was a part of the trade down from 11 to 16, where they pick up 98. They get Brian Robinson, so they grab basically the Thunder to Antonio Gibson's Lightning, but that still felt a bit rich. This just feels average. I gave it a C. So, yeah, I like Phidarian Mathis, Brian Robinson. They're good players, but it took them a bit earlier than I have them on my board. Kind of is what it is. But you let me know how you think your team did or how other teams did in the comment section below. Be with us for the live stream. I'm actually just going to pump this video out immediately once it's done uploaded. I'm putting it up. So until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.